I'm going to walk you through IRS Form 1065, that is your informational tax return that you are required to file if you own a partnership or a business. Partnerships file an informational tax return or report for their income, gains, losses, deductions, and credits. A partnership does not pay taxes on their income but passes through any profits or losses to its partners. Partners must then include the partnership items on their tax return or informational returns as well. I strongly recommend you, when you fill out this form on your own 1065, make sure that you review the instructions and follow through. I will put the link in the description below for the current version of Form 1065 and also the instructions for Form 1065. Hit the like button if you find this video helpful and subscribe to the channel. That I'll greatly appreciate it and it will motivate me. A partnership is a relationship between two or more people to do the trade and or the business. Each person contributes money, property, labor, skills, and shares the profit and losses of the business. If you have a complicated tax situation, consider consulting to the tax professional to save you headache and potential penalties in future. Let's jump right into this form. Form is very straightforward. I'll walk you through step by step. So I want you to watch the full video, and at the end of this 5 minutes, you'll have a clear picture and idea as to how you can fill out 1065 form on your own. The 1065 form is the US return of partnership income. Current form that I could find on the website is for the year 2023. If you have 2024 form, it'll be pretty straightforward and very similar to what you see for 2023. You want to put the beginning of the years, which is 1st January, ending is 1st December. While you're in the form, you want to start looking into section A, B, and C, which is your principal business activity, principal or product services, and your business code number. For principal business activity, in my case, I'm going to use publishing, the principal product or services, which is the contract services, and the business code number 519130. The IRS wants to know the name of the partnership. Put the name of your business right here. In my case, it's My Small Business. Then you want to give the address with the number and street. It is 123 ABC Street, City and Town, My Town, California 90032. In section D, IRS wants to know your employer identification number. When you started a business, you must have an EIN number that IRS sent you, or also known as employer identification number, that you want to put onto this form. It also requires you to fill out as to when the date as to when the business started, which is January 1st, 2023 in my case. In section F, IRS wants to know the total assets. For most of the businesses, unless you have any real estate or anything along those lines, there won't be any assets, so you can leave it blank. I will also address that in page 2 as to where you can fill out some of this information as well. Let's jump into section G, which is asking for the applicable boxes for your return. That contains initial return, final return, name change, address change, and amended return. Given that this business was started in 2023, I'm going to check off initial return because this is my first return. Final return is for the businesses that you're shutting down and you are no longer filing any other 1065s in the upcoming future. So make sure you check off the box final return. Also, name change, address change, and amended return checkboxes are self-explanatory, so use as it is needed for your use case. Section H contains the check accounting method, which is cash and accrual. Most of the business will have cash method as their accounting method. Cash is basically when the fund hits your bank account or it is debited out of your bank account. Accrual is basically when your business sends the invoices to other retailers or other businesses. They use accrual business method. For the most of you, given that it's a small business, you might be providing services or selling some products, you should use cash. Follow the instructions for the 1065 form below. Section I is number of Schedule K-1s and attach one for each person for each tax year. In my case, we are 2 partners, so I'm going to use 2 in this particular box in section I. For section J, check if Schedule C and M3 are attached. For most of you, for straightforward business activities, you won't really have any Schedule C or M3, so leave it blank. For section K, check if the partnership is aggregated activities in section 465 at risk purposes or grouped activities. For most of the small businesses, it's not going to be the case, so leave them blank. And if you need to use this, I will highly recommend you also consult the tax professional so you don't run into issues later on. Include any trade or business income and expenses on line 1 through line 23 below. This is most important part where you will be reporting income, deduction, and other numbers. This is the most important part where you will be including your income. In this case, let's get into 1A, which is the gross receipts or sales of your business. In this case, it is $10,000. Less returns or allowance, you won't really have that unless you're in the retail business where you are getting returned items, and C is the balance. In this use case, my 1C is going to be you're deducting B from A. In this case, B is 0 and A, gross receipts or sales, are $10,000, so I'm going to put the balance $10,000. For number 2, cost of goods sold, which means what was the cost for goods or product that you sold. In my particular business case, it's $15,000. It also includes if you had to buy computers or cameras or internet connections, or if you have used your own phone services. All of the above will be added here in number 2. And gross profit will be, you'll be subtracting line 2 from line 1C. In my case, that the total cost of goods sold is $15,000, which I'll be subtracting from $10,000. That gives me negative $5,000. In my case, the gross profit is negative $5,000, which means it's a loss. Add if you are in a farm profit or loss. For the most of you, it's not going to be the case. Gain or loss from form 4797, which is not going to be the case for you either, so leave it blank. If you have any other income, report that in number 7. If not, it's going to be the blank for most of you. Row 8, it is the total income or loss, which is combined lines 3 through 7. If you don't really have anything in line 4, 5, 6, and 7, you're just going to drop this number from line 3 to line 8, as you can see on my screen, which is going to be negative $5,000. For most of you, the deduction is going to be empty, as you can see, because it's a straightforward business that you might be owning and you don't really need to report anything along the deduction, which means you have no salaries or wages to report for the employees. Unless you have employees and you're providing employment to other people, you will need to fill out row number 9. For row 10, it's guaranteed payment to the partners. There are certain partnerships where partners are getting paid regardless of business makes profit or loss. But for most small businesses, in this case, with 2 people that we own 50-50, there is no such conditions in our operating agreement into our business. If you have any other repairs or maintenance, you want to report on line 11. This is the most common factor when you own real estate or rental business. Bad debt is basically non-performing account that you feel that the money is not going to get back to you, that you want to report to IRS. Or if you're renting a space, you want to put the rent here. If you use home office, you can put that on your personal return, but you're not reporting on the business activity or Form 1065. If you've paid any interest, you want to write in row 15, but for most part, this is not going to be the case. Depreciation is geared towards if you own a real estate business or you are using any rental properties and you are a landlord. But in this case, if you have to report depreciation, I strongly recommend you to consult the tax professional, because that becomes pretty complicated and you want to avoid some situations where you report wrong information to the IRS and run into issues later on. Depreciation and then depletion for the most 17, 18, 19 and row 20, 21 and 22 is going to be empty. No deductions in those items because you do not have employee, you're not providing any employer plan, any employer benefits or any other deductions. With that ordinary business income or loss, you want to drag down row number 8 directly to the row number 22, which is negative $5,000, which is going to be the case for the most simple businesses or general partnerships that are around us. For row 24, as you can see right here, is tax and payments. It is going to be empty as you see on my screen. The total balance due, adding row 24 to line 27, that is going to be empty, so you can leave it empty. With that, you're done on the first page for 1065 form. You want to sign here, signature of the partner or limited liability member. You can sign here and put your date. Now let's get into Schedule B, which is additional other information. You want to tell IRS what type of entity is filing this return. For most of you, it is going to be domestic general partnership, as you can see on my screen. For number 2 and number 3, you're going to pretty much mark no for 2A and yes for 2B. 2A tells you whether you have any foreign or domestic corporation that are involved into your business. For most general partnership, that is not going to be the case. In my case, I'm going to mark no. Did any individual estate own directly or indirectly an interest of 50% or more profit or loss in this partnership? We are 2 partners and each have 50-50 partnership, which is going to be the case for many of you. So if you are a partner with 50 or more in the profit and loss partnership, you want to mark yes, which is why I have yes right here. For number 3, at the end of each tax year, did the partnership own directly 20% or more or own or directly 50% or more total voting power for all classes? It is going to be no for most of the cases, so mark down no. Let's go to number 4. Does the partnership satisfy all 4 following conditions? This is very important, so watch this carefully. A. The partnership's total receipts and tax were less than $250,000. Let's say if your business has not performed more than $250,000. B. The partnership's total assets at the end of the year were less than $1 million. C. The Schedule K-1 are filed with the return and furnished to the partner on or before the due date, excluding extensions for the partnership return. So remember, you're going to generate Schedule K-1 for each partner in this partnership. We have 2 partners in this partnership, so we are going to have 2 K-1 for each of the partner that will be added in their individual tax return. It's also called pass through their individual tax return. And D is the partnership is not filing or is not required to file Schedule M3. For most of you, you don't really need to file M3. So if you satisfy all these 4 conditions, write down yes. Now, if you're filing Schedule M3, you need to watch out for if yes, for the partnership is not required to complete Schedule L, M1, and M2. For many of you, you don't really have to file M1 and M2. We don't really have anything here in the total assets. So that's what I was referring to when I mentioned on page 2. 5. Is this partnership a publicly traded partnership as defined in section 469K2? Your answer should be no. During the tax year, did the partnership have any debt that was canceled, forgiven, or had terms modified? Payment protection plan, you might have this slightly different, but for most of you, you want to mark no right here as well. Section 7 or number 7, has this partnership filed or required to file 8918? If you don't, fill out no. That will be the case for most of you. For 8, 9, and 10, you want to also fill out no, no, and no. Also go through the instruction if you have any questions, but for the most straightforward small businesses and general partnership, it is going to be no. So mark down 10A and 10B no as well. Let's go to the Schedule B. For this tax year, did the partnership make an optional basis adjustment? Your answer should be no, because most of the business don't really do that. For this tax year, partnership requires to adjust basis or the partnership properties. Remember, you don't really own any property in this business, so you're going to mark down this as no as well. 11 is no. Pretty much everything on page 3 is going to be no because you don't really have any special condition. Row 26 is going to be empty, as you can see, because you don't really have anything to report there. And row 27, for this transfer between the partnership, which you don't really have any transfers between the partnership and or the transfer between the partners, that is subject to the disclosure, so mark that down no as well. In row 28, you don't really have any financial foreign corporation involved, so mark down that no as well. In row 29A, no foreign entities, so mark down no here, and Schedule B, 29B is also no. And with that, you're almost done with your Schedule B. In this case, you're going to write down the designation of the partnership representative. If you are 2 partners, it will be likely the case one of you is filing this particular Schedule B and Form 1065. So write down the name of the partnership representative right here, that first name, last name, and their address as you see right here. With that, congratulations, you're done with Schedule B. Now let's move into Schedule K. K is partners' distributive share items, where you will be reporting collectively what the business has done in terms of the income or loss, deductions, and other information for self-employment. This is your ordinary business income and loss from page 3, line 23, which is negative $5,000, or in the other words, it's $5,000 loss. Net rental, real estate income, there is nothing. Other gross income, there is nothing. So leave all this blank, as you can see right here. Line 11, 12, and 13 blank. Let's go to the self-employment. 14A is the net earning or loss for the self-employment, which is going to be the case for many of you or most of you. So write down whatever you have in row 1. In this case, it is negative $5,000. I'm going to put negative $5,000 in our 14A. So line 14A, self-employment, is going to be $5,000 loss. With that, let's get into 15A and 16. Low income housing credit, not going to be applicable in your case because you're a general partnership. Row 16, attaching Schedule K-2 is not going to be the case for you either. Post 1986 depreciation adjustment, it is not going to be the case for AMT, also known as alternative minimum tax, which is not going to be the case for yourself or many of you. But if it does, read the instruction manual below, and I would highly recommend you reaching out to the professional who can help you out with the situation. Other information, tax exempt, interest income, not going to be the case for you, so leave it blank. In this case, you're going to get the net income or loss combined in Schedule K, line 1 through 11, and analysis for the partner type. In this case, it is going to be the general partnership and individual active, which is negative $5,000, or it's a loss of $5,000. Now, if you have limited partnership or limited partners, you want to write down for each individual entity type that you have. Limited partners are usually getting paid regardless of what the business does, but that is not going to be the case for you and most of you as you're watching this video and filing this form on your own. Let's go into Schedule L that you don't need to worry about. So leave it blank, which is the balance sheet per books. You can leave it blank and you don't really need to fill out anything. Same for Schedule M1. You don't really need to fill out anything for Schedule M1 or M2, as I already mentioned. With that, you're almost done. Congratulations, you're done with your Form 1065. After this, you're basically done with your 1065 form, but that does not mean that you're done filing taxes for your partnership. You'll also have to fill out Schedule B-1. If you want to learn how to fill out Schedule B-1, write down in the comment section below and I'll share the video, but it's very straightforward. That's the information for the partners owning 50% or more of the partnership, which is going to be the case for you because let's say if you're two partners and each one own 50-50. You will still have to fill out Schedule B-1, which is basically defines and notifies IRS who are the individuals that are part of this business or partnership. That part is pretty simple and self-explanatory that you need to fill out for your partners. I'll link down this form and instruction into the description below. You're still not done with this. You'll need to fill out Schedule K-1 for each of the partner involved in partnership for this business. If you want to find out how you can do that, watch the video that I have built for Schedule K-1 in the description below, or it is also on your screen, so click on that. It is very straightforward that you can fill out K-1 for each partner. They can attach or pass through into their individual tax return. I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel for more content and write down in the comment section below what other forms you want me to walk you through. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.